How's it going, everyone? This is Obi-WanJacobi, and welcome back to Trials of Osiris Tips and Tactics. This is the second video of this three-part series. In the last video, we went over basic rules and what I like to call advantage and disadvantage. Quite simply, when your team has more active players than your opponents, you have advantage, and when your team has less active players than your opponents, you have disadvantage. In this video, I'd like to go over some key thoughts I have about how to spec out your class specifically for the Trials of Osiris, and then some nice and simple ways to create advantage in a match. But before I go into that, I'm happy to announce that Bungie introduced elimination into the standard Crucible playlist. Now we're going to have the chance to practice this game type on different maps during the week. And I also think it's a great move by Bungie because a lot of players that stick mostly to PvE will have a much lower stakes way to practice their skills and prepare for the trials. And to be honest, it's just a lot of fun, so to be able to do this more often is going to be a really good thing. Quick side note, just before I jump into my suggestions for class loadouts, I want to mention that there's certainly more than one way to do this. I'm just going to tell you my thoughts and what works for me. Feel free to critique what I say in the comment section. I love hearing new ideas, just as much as the next guy. Maybe you'll teach me something, and I think that would be awesome. One of the most important decisions you're going to make when you spec out your class is what grenade you're going to use. And the list that I'm going to provide here is what I believe simply to be the most effective grenades in most situations. So why don't we just start up at the top? And my favorite grenades for Trials of Osiris are bolt-style grenades, and that's your arc bolt, your fire bolt, and your axion bolt. Quite simply, the reason why I like them more than the other grenades is because they have a more effective radius for when they hit an opponent. And if you do happen to throw two of them in at the same time from you and one of your teammates, you're going to get a kill. My second favorite type of grenade for Trials of Osiris are your one-hit kill grenades, and that's your sticky grenades like your fusion, magnetic, your trip mine, and your flux grenade. They can be an emergency substitute for not using a shotgun, so if you are someone who favors sniping, sometimes this can be a really good option for you. And the trip mine, as a little side note, can be nice to drop right at an enemy orb to maybe get a kill for someone who's going for a revive, or to make them hesitate and give you that extra moment to catch up to them. The next type of grenades I like at this point is actually Titan only, and that's your specialty grenades. You have the flashbang and the suppressor, and I feel like these are good when you feel like you're outnumbered and you have to maybe go in 1-on-2 or 1-on-3. The flashbang can blind them, making it quite easy to evade their shots while dealing damage to them. And then the last type of grenade I like are the zone cookers. You got your solar grenade from the Sun Singer, your vortex, the lightning grenade, the pulse grenade, and the spike grenade. Overall, for Trials of Osiris, I'm not a big fan of these, but they can cut off choke points to control your enemy's movements. Moving over to your jumping options, I think you have to just say Blink is simply the best option here. Which does limit you to a Void Walker or a Blade Dancer if you really want to use that. But the Blink shotgun combination is an excellent way to get in your enemy's face without them knowing what's going on, or just to really get the jump on them. And then also, just another note, try not to hang around in the air, because at that point you're really just asking to be shot. So turn your jets on and off quickly to make sure if you do have to jump, that you're not hanging around. Other notes I feel like are worth mentioning: if you're a Sun Singer, use Flame Shield. The other two options are completely useless. Invisibility, if you're a Hunter, can be a very interesting tool on smaller maps, especially if you leave someone intentionally uninvisible, or what we like to call that visible, to put radar blips on your opponent's radar. That could be just the surprise your team needs to get the jump on your opposition. Also, I really don't think, if you're looking up for tips and tactics on Trials of Osiris, that you should be running a Defender. But if you do like that class for your Titan, try to coordinate your ward perk, whether it's Blessing or Weapons, with your team. And then as soon as they get that buff, be super aggressive while it's active. And then another little note there is Gift of the Void can be a creative way to charge up your teammates' supers by creating more orbs. And the last 2 points I just want to make is that if you're not good with something, don't use it until you feel comfortable doing so. For me, I'm not so great with the Warlock self-res. I know it can easily turn the tide of a fight, but for whatever reason, I just don't pick the right time to do it. So I will use Radiant Skin when I'm running Sun Singer to get that damage resistance that I need in order to be aggressive. And then finally, just put a little extra thought into how each choice you make with your spec will mesh with the other choices you've made, and then also with the choices that your teammates make. Sometimes you guys might stumble upon a really creative combination that works really well, and working together as a team is always better than going about this on your own. Now let's move over to creating advantage, and to me the most simple way to do that is with your grenades. Me and my teammates, we always use bolt-style grenades, so if we know where an opponent is, we'll take two grenades and throw them, because we know that those two will get a kill. I'm typically running Voidwalker, so the Axion Bolt normally will get the kill, and even though it takes a little bit longer to find its target, it can make people panic and run away instead of focusing on what you and your team is doing. I'd like to show you a quick clip on how this can really be effective. As you can see, we're down a man and need to find a way to even up the odds. So we both throw a grenade there, and we get the kill that we're looking for. And real quick, just check out this guy in the top right. Yeah, that's the guy. That's what an Axion Bolt does. This next clip here just shows you a couple of other ways you can get a little advantage in a fight. As you see, when you're on your own or when you know you're getting into the middle of it, throw the grenade, get that extra advantage. It also can be a way that you can make sure you get to revive your teammates by throwing a preventative grenade like this. And it gives you the time you need to revive. And then the last thing I want to go over before we finish up this video is just how you use your positioning. You should be close enough to revive each other if one of your guys goes down, and then yet far enough away where you're not going to be killed by a single super or grenade. One of the worst things you can do as a team is bunch up too closely, but like I said, you have to stick together for your revives. And then a good, simple opening maneuver is to occupy the center of the map, and this way you have eyes or radar eyes at choke points to alert your teammates as to what your opponents are doing. This puts the pressure on your opponents to make something happen, because if they don't in the 2 minutes, your team can capture the flag at the center when it spawns, and you will win. So that's just about going to do it for what I want to talk about in this video. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the game footage. There's not too much longer, but a lot of these things can be easier said than done. I wanted to keep things a little simple and concise for you, and hopefully you'll be able to implement these in your games and maybe even get your flawless. Alright, so take care everyone, and good luck in the Trials of Osiris.
Targets eliminated. Congratulations, Guardians. Nice work.
Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you soon back in Destiny.